Welcome to English Rubik's Cube.
English Rubik's Cube. Play and guess which world you are in tonight.
Hey guys, I'm your host today, Ingrid. Welcome to today's English Rubik's Cube. Before I jump right into anything, I would like to take some time to briefly introduce myself. I'm currently 20 years old. I'm from Taiwan province, Taipei City. If you have no idea where that is, it's where the notable Taipei 101 was built. And though I'm from Taiwan, I'm currently studying in mainland China at Xiamen University, a senior, and was majored in finance for a year, but eventually transferred to a public finance major. Some more information for you guys. I'm a student, but also a YouTube content creator. Simply put, I make videos about myself, sharing personal life experience on the internet. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please visit Ingrid Chan on YouTube or Bilibili to find more about me. So back to the topic. What exactly is this show all about? Well, since I'm sort of a public figure, as I said earlier, a YouTuber, I often get asked a lot of questions about me studying in mainland China, especially questions that are highly related to the school life I lead here in Xiamen. People really show a great amount of curiosity towards certain topics like adaptations, like how I managed to fit myself here, like how I managed to fit myself in a different city, relationship problems, not a love kind of relationship, but something about socializing, like are the people here nice to Taiwanese, or how to make friends here, or people are just even asking for some life hacks about how to get yourself together while you're away from home. Some of these questions that I refer to as student problems are not that closely related to where I'm studying. It's something common and can happen to whoever is studying outside their hometown or abroad. So, in today's broadcasting, I will unreservedly share my personal experience or story with you, and my side of this story in terms of problems I encountered here. And last but not least, I will talk about if I ever regret to study here in mainland China. So, enough of the introduction, let's jump right into the topic. To make it easier for you guys to picture how I live my life here every day, so there you go. Every single day, I wake up at 6. After having breakfast and get myself dressed in the dorm, I hurry myself to class. If I don't have class early in the morning, I'll review and study class lessons at the dorm, or do some morning stretches. And yep, I barely go to the library. The only case that I'll move my ass to the library is to connect Wi-Fi, for uploading YouTube videos, or to do some research that requires my full focus. And since Xiamen University is huge, like incredibly huge, I will listen to podcasts while I'm commuting through my legs. Oh, and I get asked a lot about why don't I just get an electronic bike to save us some time walking. Well, I just really enjoy walking around the campus, so I never feel like getting one. Okay, back to the topic. When it's nearly noontime, I head towards the student cafeteria for lunch. And then, after that, I walked back to the dorm. Take a nap usually for 40 to 60 minutes. Then I'll get up beforehand to prepare for the afternoon classes. And then again, I go to the student cafeteria for dinner. And after the evening classes ended, I go back to the dorm and hopefully get asleep by 10:30 p.m. every day. Of course, there are exceptions among those routines, like I do but seldom have lunch outside the campus. And I spend some quality time with my friends from time to time. And as many of you know, I enjoy working out. So I train in the gym 4 to 5 times a week whenever I get the time. So basically that's all. And the first topic that I would like to discuss is problems that are related to adaptations. Well, in terms of geological locations, I have to say, there's not much to worry about. I mean, in Xiamen, Taipei and Xiamen share a lot in common. They've got the same seasonal weather, the food is also very much alike. People of both places even speak the same dialect. Anyways, since I'm a student, the first big issue I got, back in the time when the school first started, is an academic problem, which is the subject math. And for your information, in high school, I wasn't a 文科生, but a 理科生. I love math and science more than social studies. However, the math here is more legit. I would say, through my observation, mathematical education here in mainland China is more intense. And their college admission test papers are more difficult to take, especially for the province that stresses more on math, this particular subject. They make their test even more difficult. And since they have so many of them, the ones who pass the test eventually get admitted to Xiamen University, especially the economy faculty, are pretty good at math in average. So when I first get here, I do have a hard time catching up in math, this particular subject. And since in my freshman year, I was in a more difficult program. Okay, so long story short, after I got admitted to XMU, I passed the interview and was enrolled in a more advanced program. And in that program, we not only study further mathematics, which is 高数, but we study a way more intense kind of math, which the subject is named mathematical analysis. So just imagine, a Taiwanese facing a math subject that was even challenging to her elite classmates. Now you see the difficulty, huh? The funny thing is, me and my classmates, we make a ton of jokes about mathematical analysis. We even make a sticker on WeChat, mocking the struggles we've gone through during the course. And frankly, I even failed the first semester of this course. I believe that many of you who are listening to this right now are also Taiwanese that struggle a lot in Gaoshu as well. And to be honest, it's not our fault not to be able to catch up on the course from the very beginning, but it will be our fault to not exert everything we got to catch up with our peers, because we're the ones who decide to study here, not in Taiwan, but here. So back in the days, I tried everything. I go to the professor or my classmates all the time in class whenever I got problems understanding the course. I almost even copied down the entire PowerPoint word by word, step by step, and went through every single chapter and the chapter inside each chapter. Try to make the sense out of it. The point that I try to make here is that there's no shortcut. Just devote everything you got. You will eventually get better and more acquainted with it since you spent so much effort in it. So, after weeks of hard work, my GPA in terms of this course improved a lot, like 30 points or so. And a year after, since I transferred my major, unfortunately I have to take the Gaoshu course since the major I'm currently studying do not admit my credit of the course mathematical analysis, even though it's harder. But because of the effort I put in mathematical analysis, I easily got a full mark on Gaoshu in the coming semester after I quit the advanced program. So that's my story in terms of how I adapt to academic problems, which you just got to work your ass off. But here's one crucial point. The reason why I dare to devote so much time to math is that I'm good at English. So I can be exempt from 3 semesters of English courses because we scored better at the English test that was given at the very beginning when we first admitted to university. Besides, throughout my year as a freshman, I can easily pull off an oral presentation pretty well without the need to put in a ton of effort. And that saved me a lot of time. That enables me to focus on all the math stuff. I think that's kind of the only problem I faced that arises from the fact that I'm not educated in mainland China during high school. Other than that, I don't see that much of a difference academically, because though we have a different starting point, we can still manage to catch up through our hard work. Everyone in college all has their difficulties, including the ones we think of as the perfect straight A student. So oftentimes, people ask me how to get through this. Oh, I'm freaking out, blah, 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 it's so hard, I can do this, I can do that. I will assume that either you don't work hard enough, or maybe you're indeed working hard enough, but you're not there yet. You just have to keep going. Move on to the next topic, which is relationship. I feel like we either make a ton of friends or we just doomed to be alone after the first 2 weeks when the school starts. Oh, and by the way, I think that there do exist some cultural differences that make it harder for us to build connections with our peers in mainland China. First of all, we have a different accent. Honestly, to this day, I still have a hard time understanding the accent that comes from the very north of China. That particular accent somehow makes the ending syllable twisted and can be so hard to interpret when people are talking fast, slurring words with that accent. But in the long term, aside from accent problems, I can connect well with my peers. Okay, back to the relationship topic. As I said earlier, in college, we either make little friends or a ton of friends. And some of us are just good at multitasking. They somehow manage to participate in all kinds of clubs, activities, and while they're hanging out with friends, they still spend time on their date. Most importantly, they manage to do well on school exams as well. That sounds pretty unfair and nonsense, but it's a real-life situation. And I do meet handsome guys or pretty girls like this all the time. However, I'm not that kind of person, let's just put it out there. I'm more like the nerd whom you see in a high school situation that I go to the cafeteria by myself and dine alone. I work out by myself, go to the classes, and do all the grocery shoppings alone. So I'm mediocre like most of you guys, who don't make a lot of friends, go to a lot of gatherings after the class, or even just, spend time dating, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. I feel like in my situation, I choose not to do all those things, like attending redundant socializing events and run errands for the seniors in the club you joined, or go grab a bar drink after a late night class just to relax. And oddly, I feel calm and relaxed by going through the weekends alone. I enjoy being with just me and no one else, without the need to socialize with other people. I know you guys might be surprised since I'm kind of look like a talkative person, and indeed I am. But there's also another side of me who is super shy, unconfident. So I think it depends. I feel like if you're not the type of social person, you don't have to force yourself to be that kind of person who you're not comfortable being. However, don't overdo it, like being super confined to merely just yourself. Another thing is, since I'm the kind of morning person, I get up early in the morning every single day, meaning that I don't stay up late at all. So I never or seldom attend gatherings that are held late at night. But besides all that, I still hang out with my few but precious friends and go to the gatherings that I think are necessary. In that way, you can not only save up a lot of money and energy, but also focus on something more important. However, recently, I kind of want to change the way how I treat those gatherings as redundant and time-wasting. So long story short, days before, I was listening to a podcast named Not Overthinking by Ali Abdaal. He is currently a YouTuber/investor and also a full-time doctor. Back in the days when he's still studying in Cambridge, he has a habit of buying a stranger a coffee when someone would like to meet up with him. Yeah, a total stranger. He said that as a student, we can build connections quite easily, since we don't yet have that guard up when it comes to making friends with new people. But as we are out there in society, things change. And being a university student is the last stage of life that enables us to build that kind of sincere connection. And I'm quite inspired by that. So weeks before, I made a website that allows students in Xiamen University to throw in their emails and names to see if anyone would like to meet up. The website is done already, but I just haven't got the guts to put the link out there. I think I will shortly, but just not right now. Move on to the one last thing I would like to discuss in terms of relationship, is that whether or not I ever got into oral fights with classmates due to different political thought. And the answer is no, I haven't. The tip I would like to advise whoever has the willingness of wanting to come to mainland China to study or work, please make sure that you don't hold any aggressive political thoughts that are against the country's norm. That's all, and I will not take it any further. Along with friends from Taiwan, I have a consensus of understanding that we should respect their mainstream consciousness. The same idea applies to anyone who goes abroad to study. We shouldn't challenge their mainstream out of respect. And that's just how society works and how life works. Lastly, I want to share a funny story, which is that the first ever cultural shock that I encounter when I first get here is that people here ship everything, like literally everything. By that, I mean 90% of their daily necessities can be obtained from online shopping. I know you guys will probably be like, how does that even form a shock? But for me, I just can't imagine they ship stuff like yogurt, fruits on the daily basis. Okay, so these deliveries occurred in Taiwan as well. Nothing new, but once you take the distance of cross provinces in China into account, it feels insane for the fact that they can ship a fresh yogurt or fruit all the way from Inner Mongolia to here in Xiamen, to my dorm, within 2 days. So I guess I was fascinated by their development of an extremely efficient logistics system. The way how they manage to handle large amounts of packages, especially on huge national shopping day like Double 11, shocks me entirely. Finally, I want to answer a question that kind of bothers me through my first year in XMU, is that whether or not I ever regret coming to mainland China to study. Well, the answer is no. There have been lots of ups and downs, but the experience is totally worth it. Oftentimes, a lot of my followers who are still high schoolers always ask me, is it worth the try? Or they just throw a bunch of questions regarding how to adapt to life here. People can always come up with all kinds of difficult situations that may deter them before they actually start anything, including myself. Oftentimes, it can be hard to tell if I'm trying to be a thoughtful person or I'm just purely making a ton of excuse for myself. Before the show ends, I would like to share with you 2 of my favorite mottos that act as constant reminders to drive me to keep going, which are, always remember why you started. Many will start, but few will finish. That's all for today's English Rubik's Cube. For the audio and script of today's program, please visit us at xmubs.xmu.edu.cn. You can also follow us on 新浪微博厦门大学广播电台, WeChat, or 英元剑南. That's all for today's program. Hope you enjoyed the time you spare with me. We'll catch up next time. Bye!